New York Jets fans, I think you are absolutely headed in the right direction with Aaron Glenn as the head coach. And looking at this team through the lens of their 2025 NFL draft, what they might be able to accomplish in the 2025 season and beyond. That's what we're going to do here today on the show. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. It's all draft all the time. And again, we're looking at the New York Jets through the lens of the draft right here, right now, doing this for every team in the NFL. So the Jets, with the 7th overall pick, as I predicted, Armand Membou, offensive tackle, Missouri. This was a pick that, the reason I predicted it is because Aaron Glenn comes over to New York from Detroit Lions. Detroit, that football team, the foundation was built upon the offensive line. The Jets needed a right tackle of the future. You now, in back-to-back years, have taken offensive tackles in the first round. Olu Fashanu, who I think is going to be fantastic, and Armand Membou. Both of these guys are immensely talented, physically gifted, and you now have a pair of bookend tackles to build this offense around. I think that is absolutely huge. And again, it came as no surprise with Aaron Glenn having so much success in Detroit. Obviously, a defensive mind Aaron Glenn is, but he could very clearly understand what the bread and butter of that football team was, and it was their offensive line. And you now look at the Jets' offensive line. I've always been a huge fan of Elijah Vera Tucker. Obviously, injuries have been kind of the bugaboo with him. At center, you have Joe Tippmann and Josh Myers battling it out. Josh Myers comes over from Green Bay. You still have John Simpson, obviously Olu Fashanu. I think there's some decent depth here when you look at Chuck Okorafor, Warren Carter, Max Mitchell. So this is a football team that I think now does have the offensive line infrastructure in place, maybe with a tweak or two down the road to kind of try to make this the AFC version of the Detroit Lions, featuring Olu Fashanu and Armand Membou in a big way. And then with their second pick, Mason Taylor comes in, obviously son of Jason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. He's a really, really good tight end prospect. I think that this was right in the range where I had him projected, and it's the range he went, 42 overall. I think he's got really good balance, athleticism, strong hands. I think he's going to be a reliable target in this offense for years to come. And then going and getting Azareye'h Thomas at 73 overall, I think he perfectly fits what Aaron Glenn wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, which is beat you up at the line of scrimmage. Azareye'h Thomas was the best press corner in this class by a wide margin, in my opinion. So they go get him, and you're now looking at two really big corners out there with Brandon Stevens coming over and Azareye'h Thomas, and obviously pairing them with Sauce Gardner. I think that it's possible Brandon Stevens might not be able to hold off Azareye'h Thomas very long. So you're looking at that secondary. I think Sauce is in line for a big bounce back year. I think Andre Cisco is in line for a bounce back year coming over from Jacksonville to New York, now under the tutelage of Aaron Glenn and company. Michael Carter, a very good nickel corner. So they've got some pieces in the secondary there to feel good about. Aaron Glenn, obviously a former corner for the Jets. Among other teams. Arian Smith in the 4th round was a little bit of a reach for me. And now if he can get his hands in line, there's absolutely potential for him to be a game-breaking presence because he's got unbelievable track speed. He does. But to me, a little bit early for this pick. I think that there was probably some better options available for the Jets. And when you look at their wide receiver room, that's one of the areas that I do feel very, very skeptical about, honestly. Garrett Wilson, to me, obviously a top 10 receiver in this league, a very, very good receiver. But outside of Garrett Wilson, you're hoping Malachi Corley takes a step forward. You brought in Josh Reynolds, who has experience with Detroit. Tanner Engstrand, offensive coordinator, was with Aaron Glenn in Detroit, so Josh Reynolds should have some familiarity there. You bring in Tyler Johnson, another player who, these guys are NFL players, but are they difference makers? Is anybody really going to make a difference in this receiver room outside of Garrett Wilson. That's what I worry about for 2025, certainly. I don't think that this is a team that has to make the playoffs in 2025. I don't think that they will, but I do think they're headed in the right direction in a lot of ways. One of the things I really want to see them do after 2025 is upgrade that receiver room and help Garrett Wilson out a little bit more. I think, Mason Taylor was obviously a very good addition to the overall receiving skill set, but you need more at wide receiver than they have outside of Garrett Wilson. I feel pretty strongly about that. And then, I was talking about their secondary. In the 4th round, they went and got Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama. I love Malachi Moore. He played the star role at Alabama, which is like a very versatile nickel safety. It's what Brian Branch did at Alabama before Malachi Moore did it. I don't think that he's the same level of tackler or talent that Brian Branch is, but can he do some of those things and do it at a fairly high level for you potentially? I think so. And then you go get 2 Miami defenders in the 5th round. Francis Mauigoa out of Miami, the linebacker, and then Tyler Barron. I do think Tyler Barron is a really good fit for the Jets. They've got some edge guys that you can get fired up about. Will McDonald, obviously undersized, but a really good pass rusher. Jermaine Johnson coming back off of injury. He was playing really well prior to his injury last year, unfortunately. Obviously, the defense is going to be built around Quinnen Williams. He is the sun of this solar system, right? Of this galaxy with the New York Jets. So I think that Quinnen Williams, surrounded by Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, you drop Tyler Barron in there. You added Derek Nandi coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs as a big interior defensive lineman as well. And then behind them, you've got Quincy Williams and Jamian Sherwood, who absolutely fly to the football at linebacker. I think you'd like to keep upgrading the overall depth of the defensive front. I think that you're betting on a bounce back year from Andre Cisco, who I think you can get that from him. But overall, I like the direction of the defense. I like the direction of the offensive line. I think when you look at the running back room, you've got plenty of talent between Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. I think that this is a team that could be competitive. And now we haven't talked about quarterback yet, have we? So quarterback is Justin Fields, and they signed him to be their starter. There's no question about that. He is the starting quarterback. You've got Tyrod Taylor behind him. Brady Cook comes in as an undrafted free agent, but it's definitely Justin Fields' job in 2025 and probably 2026 based on that contract they gave him. But definitely 2025. I am the biggest Justin Fields defender, right? But the bottom line is he has got to play more confident. He's got to play more with more anticipation. He's got to play faster when it comes to getting through his reads, when it comes to getting rid of the football and just letting it rip. And I think potentially reuniting with Garrett Wilson could help in that regard. I think being in an offense that's kind of going to, protect the quarterback, it's going to run the football with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, run the ball with Justin Fields, maybe. But this is going to be his last chance, I think. This is going to be his last chance. And, unfortunately, he doesn't have like a ton of amazingly talented receivers. Again, you do have Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen to lean on, and a good offensive line, assuming Armand Membu can come in and get the job done early. But it's not set up amazingly. I think it's set up fine. But it's Justin Fields' time to, kind of put up or shut up, unfortunately. I love Justin Fields. I thought he should have been the second quarterback or first quarterback taken back in 2021. And it just hasn't come together for him yet. But he's still got all the physical talent in the world. So can Aaron Glenn get the most out of him? I thought he was playing fairly well with the Steelers last year before they benched him. I thought he gave them more upside than Russell Wilson did. So maybe, just maybe, if you can get this run game going, you can get that connection back with Garrett Wilson, get some flow to this offense, play some tough physical defense, have Quinnen Williams wreaking havoc, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald helping out, Quincy Williams and Jamian Sherwood flying around the football field at linebacker, and then this secondary that does have a lot of talent. Getting coached up by Aaron Glenn a little bit. Maybe you could have something cooking. I don't project this to be a playoff team, as I mentioned, in 2025, but I do think they're heading in the right direction. A lot of this is going to hinge on Justin Fields, right? How good can Justin Fields play in this offense? How is Tanner Engstrand as an offensive coordinator coming over from Detroit? I believe strongly in Aaron Glenn as a head coach, as a leader, as a defensive mind. So that's really not a question for me. I think that if they give him the time and if they give him the ability to pivot from Justin Fields if they need to after 2025, that this is going to be an organization that can kind of get back to the glory days, get back to being one of the more competitive AFC teams, because I strongly believe in Aaron Glenn, strongly believe in the defense he's putting together and the offensive line that he's putting together. So that's where I'm at with the New York Jets. Don't expect them to compete for the playoffs this year. Expect them to be competitive week in and week out. A lot of that, again, is going to hinge on Justin Fields, his ability to take another step forward in his career. If you're a Jets fan, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.